without any further ado, I'll give you a new professional, Ryan Ruffels.
Thank you very much, Hazy, and thank you everybody for being here today. I really appreciate everyone coming out. So, yeah.
I would take questions from the floor.
How do you feel, Ryan? It's obviously a big day in your sporting career and in your life.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I've known sort of for the past 2 to 3 months, around about the time that I'd be turning pro. I made a decision on that sort of late last year, and I've been pretty anxious to kind of get amongst it. My last amateur event was the Asian Amateur, which was back in October, so it's been a bit of a wait, and I'm really excited to get started in a couple of weeks.
Was it an easy decision to turn pro at this stage of your life, or did you have to weigh quite a few things up?
Yeah, there's a few things I had to weigh up. Obviously, there's going to be a few people that think 17 turning pro is maybe a little bit young, but I feel I've been around the amateur stuff for a long time now. Despite only being 17, I played my first Australian men's interstate series when I was 14, and played Aussie juniors for a while, and played the Australian Open when I was 15. So I feel like I've gotten my experience that I need as an amateur, and the next step is to sort of do it for real.
What about sort of the maturity levels and growing up and going straight into men's tournaments as a 17-year-old, as a full-on professional? A lot of your peers follow the college system in the US, but you decided not to do that. Why did you avoid that?
Yeah, I feel like I've been lucky with Golf Australia and with the VIS. I've been given exposure quite early. I played, like I said, the Australian Open at quite an early age, and I've been able to gauge myself from very early on. And I got an experience last year to play on the PGA Tour as an amateur. I got to play on the European Tour as an amateur as well. So I've been able to kind of see where my game's at for a little while, and even the Australian events, being able to play with Rory and getting played with Adam and Jeff and that sort of stuff has been great experiences for me that I've been able to have as an amateur, and I think those will hold me in good stead when I head over there in a couple of weeks.
Did your plans to turn pro accelerate because of your recent experiences, or was it always a goal or was always the plan to not go to college in the US?
No, that was a big decision I had to make sort of early last year. I was weighing up whether I'd go to college, whether I'd turn pro, whether I'd stay amateur a little bit longer. We pretty much thought, after thinking about it with the team that's around me, that I had a very good team in place over here that I've had around me for a long time, and there was no point changing that by going over to college. I've got everything that I need over here, and my progress has been fairly consistent up to this point, so there was no point throwing something new in the works. And as soon as I didn't win the Asian Amateur a couple months ago, my goal was to really play in a pro event, in a major as an amateur. And as soon as that didn't eventuate to some, I guess, unfortunate circumstances, I kind of thought, well, there's not too much else I'd like to wait for. I just like to get amongst it now.
So what's your schedule looking like? You've got a few starts lined up in the US?
Yeah, so my first event obviously is the Farmers Insurance at Torrey Pines. I thought that'd be a great place to start, considering I won the World Junior around there a couple of years ago. So it's a course that I've played well at, played a lot, and so I'll draw on good experiences there. Then a couple weeks after that, Pebble Beach. I was there last week playing Pebble, Spyglass, Monterey. So I mean, now I know those courses a little bit too. Working with Wasserman, who are doing my management, to hopefully secure the 7 starts throughout the season, what you're allowed. And obviously plan A is you get your card through those 7 starts, but we've got a lot of other little processes if that doesn't work out too.
So what sort of expectations do you place on yourself in your first year as a professional?
Yeah, and that's an interesting question. I mean, obviously you can't step up to an event trying not to win. I mean, second's not great and third's even worse, but I'll definitely go in every event thinking that I can win, and knowing that if I do play good, I think I got a lot of, I guess, positive vibes out of Canada, because I got to play a really good first round there. I didn't finish it off, but at least I know if I play good that it sort of stands up to that level, and I'm going to have to do that a bit more consistently coming up, and then we'll see what happens from there.
How sort of fortunate do you feel having all these starts? Because a lot of guys turn pro and they have to battle to get their cards. It must be a surreal feeling knowing that you're sort of straight into it surrounded by the best players in the world.
Yeah, I've got a very unique opportunity. Most of the guys that I've been around for a long time now in the amateur stuff have to sort of go through the Q schools first up and maybe try Asia or Europe or Aussie tours and stuff like that. And so I've got a very unique opportunity to skip a big step in that. And if I play well on these 7 starts and I'm able to get some status over there, well then that'd be awesome. So I've obviously been very lucky with signing with a great management team, and they've been able to help me out with that. But also, I guess, playing some good amateur golf, and I guess earning a few of these starts too.
Ryan, Robert from ABC, sorry if you've been asked these things before, but it takes back a few years. Is it true that you said golf was a little boring when you were a younger kid?
Yeah, I grew up playing, I've got a tennis background in my family, obviously, so I grew up playing tennis up until I was about 9, 10, 11, that sort of age, and I just thought it was like for old people, really, to be honest. And I don't know what changed. I played a little junior event back in Southern California when I was, I'm gonna go say 10, and I played that. That was my first event ever competitively, and I came second or third, I think, and that sort of, after losing 6-love in the morning in tennis. So that was kind of a wake-up call to me. I was like, gee, this seems a bit more fun than...
Can you explain what it is about golf that you really find, that you really enjoy?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing that I enjoy more than sort of seeing a good shot in my mind and then kind of hitting the same one. So that's always been something that I've had a great pleasure out of, and something that inspires me to work hard when I'm practicing. So yeah, the hard work's never been an issue because of that.
And you may have mentioned this before, but you said that when you're playing against players well-credentialed, a lot older than you, you said before you don't really see their age or their history, just sort of how they're playing on the day. Is that true?
Yeah, the first few times it was tough. When I think my first big experience with that was playing with Adam Scott and Jeff Ogilvy at the Australian Masters last year, and that was kind of just a couple of years before. I'd been outside the ropes and kind of I was a fan. I felt like I should be asking for their autograph, asking for their picture afterwards, and to sort of have to remove myself from that and think, okay, I'm on the same tee box as them, I'm a competitor to them this week. And that took me a few holes. It probably took me the first 6 holes where I was still kind of head spinning and stuff. And once I got through that and got my mentality set towards, okay, we actually got to compete now, I was fine, and I've been fine ever since, being able to play with a few guys. And I played with Rory the week after, and I was better for that because of that experience. So and now it's something that I think I excel under, is playing with those guys, because I feel like it's a good opportunity for me to prove in front of them that I can play a little bit.
You had a tournament, I think, in 2014 where the crowd got behind you a little bit. Was there a bit of chanting going on? Is that...
Yeah, that was pretty neat. I held a 30-footer on the last, I think, at the Aussie Masters when I was playing with them Friday afternoon. So that's still one of the most fond experience I've got as an amateur, was that moment, holding that 30-footer up there. And I think a few people in the crowd had a few too many beverages at that point and getting a little loud, and all chanting out rough and barking like a dog. So that was pretty cool for me, and that's something I'll remember for a while.
So you reckon you're prepared for bigger crowds over in the US?
Yeah, definitely. I really enjoy playing in front of big crowds. It's something, I almost find it a little underwhelming sometimes when I'm out there and it's just sort of you're on your own. I really enjoy playing in front of big crowds. It's something that I've never struggled with, I've known it's there, but I like sort of fist pumping and getting everyone involved and that sort of stuff. It's been my thing for a little while, and if you play good, there'll be more people there watching, so that's a good thing.
Ryan, how did you see your summer in Australia, and how confident are you going into these important sort of 7 starts?
Yeah, obviously I had a bit of a tough run this time in Australia. Played well at the Australian Open, but I finished VCE the week before the Australian Masters. Probably was focused on that a little bit. I mean, that's no excuse, I just didn't play good, but I was a little bit underprepared, and it felt like every week I was just trying to catch up on hard work that I'd missed in the weeks before leading up to that. So the preparation wasn't as good as it could have been. It's probably, as much as I really hated it then, I think that's probably one of the best learning experiences I'm going to go through in terms of going into becoming a professional, because undoubtedly at some point it's going to get tough, and that doesn't matter who you are. And up to that point, I felt like I've had a pretty good run without really ever having a sort of a tough stretch. So it was tough to try and play each week knowing it's just almost like a snowball effect. but now I know sort of what I didn't do, what I could have done, and how to handle it better from now on.
So do you have a base in the US where you can sort of base yourself essentially?
Yeah, I'm lucky with the US. I've got dual citizenship, so that helps out a lot. I think I spoke to Hazy before, and I said I used to think the only benefit of that US passport was the shorter line of customs when I went over there, but it turns out it's got a few more benefits than that. And so we've got a base in Southern California that we used to live when I lived over there. So I've always got that, but also I'm just working out some stuff in Orlando as well. Obviously a great place for golf and a few other things, so I'm just in the works with that at the moment.
You mentioned the BCE before. How'd you go?
Yeah, it went all right. I got a lot better ATAR than I thought I would. So, I mean, it's always a positive. And there's a few people who I guess worked harder than me for that, and were a bit annoyed that I think I got an 84 point something. So it was good.